Idly ho, lops and tops aficionados, and welcome to Saturday. We have fun, adventure, and alcohol for you. I'm your host, Tom, joined by...
Kerrie.
I love the energy you brought to that, Kerrie. Incredible. Really way to keep the vibes going.
I was not expecting him to just point his fingers at me like that.
Off the rails!
I was thinking, he said alcohol for us. Does that mean there's alcohol for me as well?
We're drinking on this recording. You can tell we've all had like a nice big sleep.
Yeah.
Anyway, so who else is here?
Think so. If you don't say Kerrie, then Kerrie has to say, "Hi, it's Kerrie."
It's a different format entirely to the one we've been going off. You threw me.
It was like last episode, if you hear it, you've got Morgan and I who just go, hello. And then there's you two, which are like, hi, hey, it's always, what's up? And I'm just like, the
Are we
contrast.
starting again or is this the episode?
No, we're keeping this in. Who
Okay,
else is
yeah.
here?
Who else is here?
Hello? Is that someone at the door?
Oh, it's Alex. Hi, guys. Have I just introduced myself?
Most chaotic.
That's how I need to walk into rooms from now on. Hi, it's Alex.
It's just canned laughter and applause in the background as you arrive in.
Right.
Who's that crawling in the window?
Hello, I'm Chloe, and I'm an alcoholic.
And what's that bubbling up from the toilet?
Why did you lock me in there? It's me, Morgan. Hi.
You're the problem, it's you.
What a start to part 2.
Yeah, that was the smoothest.
This is why I'm only allowed to introduce one a
Literally,
year.
the minute Tom was like, I could introduce this, I'm like, well, I'll see how this goes.
You said that
I said, off the rails we go.
I had every faith in him, but actually you were right. And
Yeah,
I'm
of
sorry
course I
about
was.
that.
I don't think... How hard is it to go clockwise around the room saying your fucking name?
You broke the format.
You can say I'm joined by, and then we can say our names, but
Are we taking this from the top?
No, absolutely not. We can cut that bit out. Right.
Yeah.
Cool. So first thing Saturday, hangovers. How was everyone in the morning? I was quite groggy.
I was fine because I'm both sensible and...
Don't fucking lie. Your head was
You-
fucking
you were
spinning
fine.
like a
My
bell.
head's still-
You were fine because you didn't drink at the Boar's Head and have that
No,
cider.
you keep getting... I was hungover on Friday. Saturday, I was
yes,
all right.
sorry.
Saturday, I was fine because I got it all out my system on Thursday.
True.
No, I woke up, I was actually pretty good. Got the fire on. Got some bacon and sausages on there.
We came back for some more sausages and bacon.
Sausage Quest Part 2. Quest. Oh no, did I scramble around your campsite for kindling on
Yes,
Saturday?
you-
Probably.
'Cause,
I feel like you were there at least 4 times.
Continuing the
over
legacy of Alex having used all my kindling, I had to wander over to the Jackdaws, grab some kindling. But yeah, do you know what's so nice to have just like a hot breakfast just before
it's a
time
game
in.
changer.
Yeah.
Even though I did have like a panicked having to gird up because I'd spent so long making breakfast, but it was nice to have just like a few packets of bacon before time in.
To be fair, we had to rush a bit because we were on monstering that morning. So
Yeah, but you were doing the EMU, was it?
yeah, I'm an EMU convert now. Just getting up that half an hour earlier to get some nicer kit and go with the same unit every time is a big game changer, I think.
It was quite funny because the jackdaws had offered to make me sausages, and because I'm a vegan, they had to do mine first, and they ran out of time to make their sausages, so only I got sausages.
Only the vegan gets sausage.
So what, did you go to the Sentinel Gate at all?
Not on the Saturday. The first thing
Didn't have
I
to
did,
see any Dornish scum off.
That's a shame.
First thing I did was toddle off to Dawn to quickly give you your potions before you went into battle.
Did you give my
Songs
potion
of
Saturday
Meridian.
morning?
Yeah, I've got it in my notes. I think I said it was Friday, but I wasn't sure.
Okay.
But no, it was definitely first thing on Saturday morning because I ran off to Viridian, gave him his potions, and because he'd given me the herbs the night before, and I'd made the potions, and then he was going to give me commission when I delivered them to him. You two had given me your commission like when you'd ordered them. He hadn't, so I toddled off. And then I turned around. Unfortunately, he was walking in the same direction because I almost left without payment. I was like, actually, I think you might owe me a couple of crowns. But no, I didn't bother going to the Sentinel Gate on the Saturday because again, I was pretty rough. I'd forgotten what I was meant to do that morning.
Look, the Boar's Head does the real shit. Is what I'm
yeah,
hearing.
you know what? You want to get drunk, you go to the Boar's Head. That's what we'll say.
Yeah,
Best
no.
bar and anvil.
In fact, that was where I was meeting someone first thing, but I'd forgotten about. So I'd gone to Dawn, dropped off those potions, wandered down Trader's Row a bit, and then gone, hang on, I've got a vague feeling someone was going to be meeting me there because I always say, meet me at time in at Boar's Head. And I got there and someone was waiting for me.
Oh, well done.
But they had just arrived themselves.
Yeah, okay.
So it was all right.
At least you remembered.
Yeah, exactly. Right at the last minute. And then Con passed me a big handful of newspapers, which, Out of context, I figured out that I was meant to take them down to the academy. I did not remember. I was just there like, yes, thank you. And I was like, is this person was I meeting them here? Are they coming with me? I'm really confused right now.
Kerrie, still kind of drunk.
Then they just started walking off and they started shouting me by the wrong name, which didn't help.
So was he saying Lupita?
No, he was saying like something beginning with a H, but it wasn't my name. Maybe it was Henwin, because we also met Henwin the night before.
Oh.
And I just turned around like after I was like, are you shouting me? He was like, yeah. And I was like, that's not my name. So that was very confusing, but it was funny.
God.
But yeah.
I think this is going to be a very interesting battle description for us, because I think for this first time ever, we weren't recording at E1, so that doesn't count, but this is the first time you were playing and we were monstering, so we have 2 different battlefield perspectives.
Did any of you see me?
I did.
No, didn't
You
see
saw
your
me.
ego.
I did. I saw you a couple times.
What was I doing?
You
Fighting.
were at the front with the shield, doing your shield wall.
Fuck yeah.
There was a point where like it was when the terrain was starting to get really rough. Like after you pushed through to the bridge, you had kind of gone round to the left slightly. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you were there, and I was over there was like a little moat.
Yeah,
I was over the moat to you, but this was before I'd been handed a dagger from Jack.
Oh, we'll get into that.
So,
yeah.
right.
So you're like, I would like to kill him.
Yeah, so I will get into this. So I was like, oh, I really want to come across Tristan because it'll be sick. But I was unarmed at this point. So I was like, I'm just going to have to back the fuck off because I know that he's going to murder me.
Not fully unarmed, surely.
No, I was completely unarmed at that point.
We had a very easy start to the battle as the EMU, because we are the elites. We started off the battle of the cannon fodder, the people who don't go for EMUs, kind of trying to break up Dawn League, all the nations going onto the battlefield that day. For the first half an hour, 20 minutes of the battle, our job was just to stand there, look menacing, and slowly pull back. So for the first half an hour, that's what we did. We just kind of stood there in the stun. So, oh, fuck. They're getting a bit close now.
Was this at the bridge?
No, this was before the bridge.
Oh my God.
This was like, right, just pull back. Right, what we're doing now? They're getting closer again. Pull back. We pulled back all the way past that glorious, glorious gate and into the woods and stood there for about 15
The
minutes.
fucking bridge. Jesus. General bridge.
Is the bridge the gate?
Yeah. It's the thing we were stuck at for
Yeah, the choke point.
half an hour.
Yeah, so we had the jokes. We were just standing there watching the gate. The gate is the greatest general of the Druge army that has ever existed. We're like, oh, look at that, a gate, just holding back the Empire.
I actually think that joke is made every single time the Druge hold that gate, because it is the most effective method of getting the Imperials to get fucked. The only time it's got, so we've had like mass repels before, which is where you get, basically it's a ritual you cast before you go in, and you can shout repel in like a cone, and it empties the bridge, and then you charge in. If you don't have that, you're just there for fucking ages trying to cut your way through.
We were like, oh, do you reckon we get to speak to the gate? Maybe we can go and touch the gate. Oh, the kids back home will love that, won't they? Yeah, the gate.
The kids back home.
So, yeah, that was what we were doing for Fred. I do remember walking through the gate and just seeing those tortured souls like, they're going to have fun with that.
I had a lot of fun with Tortured Souls. So you before you got there, Chloe, you had a bit of chaos, though, didn't you?
I had left my sword at your camp, Tristan, and my greaves at your camp as well. So I'd put in our group chat on the Book of Faces saying that I needed to come by and get them, and Jack or Gwyn had replied back to the message saying that he'll swing by and get them, and then added me in the message saying that he's heading to God to go monstering. So I headed straight to God, expecting to find Jack there with my sword and my greaves ready for me to get a bit of kit on and go. Could not see him, and it was like everyone had kind of gone through the gate at this point, and I was like, well, there's no weapons I can borrow, like what do I do? So I got put with all like the physics and all the artisans and things, just saying like, just stick with them. If you find your friend out on the field, then you can get the weapon, but just stick with them and do this. And I was like, well, I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. And then about halfway through the battle, some random person in a mask comes up and gives me a short sword. It gives me a dagger. I was like, thank God, like finally I've got some kind of weapon. I was like, how did this guy know I need a weapon? Do I really look that lost? I was like, do I honestly look like, do I just have that murderous look on my face? Do they know?
Face.
Yeah. So I was like, thank you so much. I was like, how do I give it back to you? And they were like, oh, I'll just wait for you outside. I was like, I probably won't find you. I'll leave it at the boar's head, thinking, great, this person's an absolute lifesaver. What a legend. Love that. So I finally had a weapon.
Yeah.
But this was after I'd seen you.
That's a shame.
It really was. But honestly, it was only about 5 minutes after.
If you weren't wearing a mask, I'm upset I didn't see you.
Yeah, but we weren't that far. But honestly, I think at one point we were about this far away from each other.
Yeah.
But you were looking forward and I was to your left.
Yeah.
And then your company swung round to the left, but I had backed off at that point
Yeah,
because
okay.
I didn't have a weapon.
It's a shame because I probably would have cleaved your leg and then tried to get you back onto the other side because we were trying to save slaves. So I would have
That would have
cleaved your
been-
leg, dragged you behind the lines.
That would have been so cool. But yeah, so I had this one short sword, nothing else. Like, I couldn't really do too much with a short sword anyway. And I was like, okay, cool, yeah, I can do something. But then after I finished monstering, I went straight to the boar's head, left the dagger there, and then headed back to camp to just get a drink, get some food. And then Jack just rolls up and was like, oh, so sorry I didn't give you a dagger earlier. And I was like, wait, it was you? And he was like, yeah, who else do you think it was?
Yeah, it's funny because as you were coming away from the boar's head, you were saying, yeah, someone's left me a dagger. I've left it at the boar's head. Then half an hour or something later, Jack comes in and goes, oh, Chloe's left my dagger here. And I was like, what?
Why she
So
left it?
funny.
But it's just because he had an orc mask on, so I didn't see it was him, and it didn't sound
Yeah.
like him, and it just didn't occur to me. And then after having this conversation with him, he was like, "Oh, I did wonder why you didn't have your sword. Why you didn't have your sword?" He was like, and I said the whole confusion. I was like, "Well, I thought you said you'd got it," and then that's when I opened the message and read that it was in reply to another message. And I was like,
bloody
"Right, so
hell.
this is just a massive miscommunication that just."
But you got a weapon in the end anyway.
Yeah.
Did you get to do anything with your dagger?
Not really, because I
You
was
were very
like,
squishy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I did heal someone's leg, which
Nice.
is cool.
Yeah.
Because obviously when monstering and because I was put in the physics and stuff
Yeah.
like that, they said,
You've got these skills.
yeah.
You can do this, you can do that.
Yeah. So I healed someone's leg. That was really cool. I had no idea what to do. It was the most awkward role play of my life.
Yeah.
So I just held my little leaf necklace and just karate chopped the girl's leg about 4 different times.
Oh, your leg's broken.
And then told her to bite down on a stick that I literally just found. I mean, God bless her. Like, she actually put the stick in her mouth
Oh,
and bit
wouldn't have
down
done
on
that.
it.
Wouldn't have done that.
I was like, okay, fair enough. But yeah, she bit down on the stick. I karate chopped her leg a couple of times. I was like, hey, get up, get back out there. I was like, oh.
Sounds like very Navarre healing.
Sounds like very Druge healing. To be fair,
there you go.
you're on the money.
I had no idea. It was pretty funny. But yeah, I did see Tristan. I was trying to look out for Nietzsche, but I didn't
See,
see
I thought
Nietzsche.
I waved at you, but it must have been a look-alike. I was like, hi.
Well, it could have been, and I just maybe might not have paid attention. Oh, I stood with some jackdaws that were dead.
Ah, fair enough.
Because where we were told to hold was right in the corner of the field, and they were like, "Oh, is this respawn?" We were like, "No." They were stood there for a good 5 minutes before they were like, "Are you dead?" We were like, "No, we're just here waiting." They were
Having a
like,
big
"Oh,
old
we're
breath.
looking for respawn." We're like, that's not here.
Yeah.
We're just chilling.
Yeah, but it was such a jackdaw thing because it just took them a while. They were like, "Wait, is this respawn?" We're like, "No."
Oh, damn.
It was very funny.
My lovelies. Yeah, I was glad that you finally breached the bridge and we finally got to do something. I finally got empowered for once, which was great.
What does that empower let you do?
I believe it lets you do a hero call or one of your hero calls for free. So basically, it's a free 10-second
Cleave, I guess.
hero call, from my understanding. So at one point, when the Dornish line did finally break through, and we finally got to go into action, I remember holding the line with my halberd, and there was some guy, or one of the orcs, just empowering me about 5 times. So I like to believe he didn't do all the calls because he couldn't physically do all the calls in time. But I did strike down this Dornishman, the only one I could really reach without getting in anyone else's way.
Yeah.
Struck down 5 times. He wasn't taking
me,
the
was it?
calls. No, it wasn't you.
Good, that's a relief.
But I think he did the first 2, but the other 3 or 4, nah, he didn't do. Which, in a way, I get because it's oh, for fuck's
No,
sake,
I
I'm just
don't.
going down.
I don't. Go down. Stay on the
It was
floor.
frustrating, but it was nice to actually be like, oh my god, I'm getting empowered. Strike down, strike down, strike down.
No.
It is beautiful seeing that Dornish line come at you heavily armed and clanked.
Oh, it's glorious. Because my morning was very much like making breakfast up to the very last fucking second. And then now I've got like pauldrons and stuff. I need people to help me get armed up, which was quite fun. So I was like arms out, getting people to put my shoulders and braces on. Someone putting my van braces, like my greaves at the bottom, kind of like getting my armor put on. I was like, I could get used to this.
Yeah, that was pretty much standard battle though. Afterwards, being an orky orc, there was one point like running away from like a Dornish advance when I hear like a hit on my back. I'm like, wait, it's that moment where you're computing. Wait a second, they shouldn't have caught up to me yet, but I've just been touched. Look around, and like an archer's there. It's like, oh, Polly doesn't protect you from a back hit of an arrow. It's like, oh, I know that. Oh, just died. It's like, it was like the most delayed reaction. It's like, appreciate that thumbs up at me.
Very
Like,
delayed reaction of like feeling your back going,
I just love it. Even when the calls are delayed, if the person takes the call and you take the call and you appreciate it, I think it's a
I've
great
sometimes got
bonding
people like
moment.
stopped fighting on. Sorry, was that a cleave? Yeah, it was. Oh, cheers, mate.
I love it. I love it when that happens.
It's a game. It's good honesty.
Yeah, no, it's all an honesty policy game. Isn't
Yeah.
it? If you're cheating at LARP, like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Who do you think you are?
Other than that, it was kind of a standard battle for me. A couple of respawns, a couple of stay with me's where you realise, oh my god, there's a line coming at me, but my mask has risen above my eyes. I'm like, oh god, I can't see.
What skills do Druge have? I've never fought as a Druge.
Depends on your weapon. So
Yeah.
2 weapons, I think it's cleave and extra hero points.
Nice.
Sword and buckler's cleave. Great weapons impale, I think, and then
Yeah,
you've
okay.
obviously got your wizards who are like special characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, was a lot of fun. I know they said no torturing, but I did see one
A
list.
sentence that starts like that.
If you guys
it's
could
just-
see his face
I
right
just
now, if
imagine you with
could
your
see
little
his-
hands to like pointing your fingers, saying like, "I know they said no torturing, but
I did see a listener on the floor, Zebediah, one of our good listeners. Teddy, his partner Savannah made the thing banner. I was like, he's gonna love this. I'm like,
did he die?"
he didn't die, but he was already on the floor. So I was like, oh, Imperial, looks like your leg hurts. Want me to fix it for you? Just hit it with my halberd and then went off giggling.
My God, oh, that's beautiful though.
Someone said, no torturing. It's like, it's only a little bit of torture.
That's only a little bit.
I just thought, you know what? Just gonna cheeky little bit of torture.
Just a little bit. Here's the treat. Just a
Yeah.
smidgen is a
Like, I
treat.
did no more. It's like,
There was no mechanical impact.
No,
to
no,
it.
I
You just
just
whacked
wa-
his leg. Yeah,
whacked his leg and run off the way.
it was just mischief.
Yeah.
because they have roving torture units, do the Druge?
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
that was pretty much our part then. It's just like, you've lost your squad,
Yeah,
go respawn,
yeah,
come back in again, cause some havoc. I'm still loving the halberd though. I can do so much more poking and damage with it than just a sword and buckler, I
I
feel.
know. Oh, is it still in here? Yeah, it just sits in your sitting room to gaze lovingly at.
Where else would it go?
That's under your bed.
No, that would just
Hide it?
stick out under
Why
my bed.
would you hide it?
Oh, sorry. Oh, do you know what? You need a wall mount for it.
we do. We've got now 2 swords, a buckler, and a halberd between us.
A
Get
few
full-on
flintlock
weapon, right?
pistols.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful.
A house is just becoming full of LARP weaponry. Anyway, we've talked about the monstering side. You're gushing to go for a glory charge and tell us what you did.
Well, so we did the classic kind of winged lions thing of like not dealing with the main objective. So like a lot of the lances get sent out to kind of hit hard, and kind of, like I say, glory charges, that kind of thing. We were, as we were last time, we were like a roving exorcist unit. So we were accompanied by a bunch of exorcists. So the Order of the Argent Lily. I love it. So I'm a member of the Order of the Argent Lily, which is a priest sect. I have no priest skills. Thus, my title is Defender of the Order of the Argent Lily. So I just go around like making sure they stay alive whilst they exercise tortured souls, which is nice and fun.
That's a pretty cool objective, actually. I like that.
Yeah, it's nice because it kind of makes us a bit separate, but it also is very tempting when you get there. So like I say, we got all girded up. People got me dressed, which is nice and fun. And then we went towards the Sentinel Gate, queuing for the gate to go through. A lot of people went through before us. Wing Lions went through right at the back of Dawn. And then as we kind of got through, the minute we kind of come through the gate, you can just hear the screaming as we see like a line of Druge charging like fucking hell at the Imperials that are coming through. Dornish running at them, and every fibre in my little Dornish changeling heart was like, chase him, and you're like, no, we have to wait. So I'm standing there, kind of keeping an eye on everyone, and then we're watching. Basically, we're waiting for some fighting to move on so we can press on. Basically, so we're kind of keeping an eye on the field. People keep screaming like, "Get it! We need you online!" It's like, no, got more important stuff to do. We'll be with you later. Eventually, we move up to that fucking bridge. So we haven't engaged really any orcs. I think we temporarily chased some off into the woods because they kept trying to harry us. Literally that. It was like they kept going over, so we chased them off. They went further in the woods, and then we troped through the woods until we got to the gate, general gate of the Druge Arms.
General Gate. Salute.
And then we stood there for 20 whole minutes. As like, so did you see the gate when you were monstering? So like, it's like basically it's like massive pinch point. You can probably stand like 4 abreast at best in there, squeeze. And it was just like lines of Druge and a few tortured souls and a few lines of Imperials just kind of going back and forward and back and forward and back, like getting squished, which was a bit of a nightmare. There was somebody with a fucking, was it a clarinet?
Saxophone.
Was that a saxophone?
I saw a saxophone on Sunday.
Yeah, there was a saxophone Sunday. Someone with a clarinet.
It was a clarinet, and they were just like blowing as hard as they could into the clarinet as like some kind of fucking psychological warfare, just like blowing in really hard, pressing every like button mashing, and then just looking at us as they did it from across the fucking like gap. It was so funny. It was just, and we were like, don't just ignore them, just ignore them. It was like, do you like that, Imperials? Someone shouted jazzes about the notes you don't play, so why don't you play less? It was pretty interesting. Eventually, the gate burst. So basically, there was nothing really that interesting going on until the gate burst.
Oh yeah, just mocking you through the gates. Like, I will have to say though, I hear the first rank of Druge when you got through were all new players, and they broke off too early, so they meant to break off and come back.
Yeah.
They fucking just kept running.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Yeah.
I heard about this. How it's just kind of like a few new players just absolutely shut themselves and kind of...
It is fucking intimidating.
Especially fucking Dornish. Like, Dornish are loud, clanky, and quick.
One of my new jackdaws has said they're not going normal con, but they thought they'd try monstering for the first time.
Yeah.
And they were very intimidated by the Dornish charge. I'm proud of them for giving it a go, but fully grown men all girded up coming
I
at
think
you.
it's scarier to monster than to fight, though. I think I panic more when I monster, even though I know that there's no consequences. Like, if I die, I die.
Yeah.
But I think, like, as Neve, I'm like, I don't care. I'm ready to fight. But as like Druge or whatever, like, I panic.
You see,
To be fair, you didn't have any weapons.
Yeah. I was also thinking about, like, last year as well.
it's completely the opposite for me because I don't want to lose Nietzsche. I'm like, I can have some fun with. There was one point, it's like, sod it, I'm surrounded. Cannonballed with my halberd into a Dornish like line and just went strike down.
Oh, incredible.
I got taken out quite quickly after
Yeah,
that.
I'm not
but
surprised.
Worth it, though.
it was on my own. It's like, I can either do some damage now or just run off.
Yeah, no, it's literally, it was the Dornish strategy is really funny because obviously with like Dornish speeds are very much capped because your armor weighs a ton. Because the Druge like to run towards you, get you to come towards them, and then they pull back, and hopefully you keep following them so then they can surround you. But it was just a lot of kind of like getting a bit too close, then just running off, and then being like, all right, bye then, and then we'd move on. But then we kind of had objective. We had to find tortured souls. We couldn't really see any of them. We'd seen a couple, but we needed to exercise them. We'd had Lordine had cast insight on 1 or 2 of them, which tells you like what rank they are. And I think they were rank 3 tortured souls, which means you need 3 exorcists, or like you can gain ranks in being good at an exorcism. So like you can solo exercise one if you're powerful enough and stuff like that. Captain in charge who was with us had like some stuff to help him exercise, so he was helping us exercise as well. And then we just started running around exercising tortured souls.
I'm just picturing a gym montage.
Gym. Oh, it felt like that. But what the thing is with them is you don't want to kill them because if you kill them, you can't exercise them. If you got, one of the objectives is to try and exercise them as we could. So what you need to do is paralyze or cleave their legs, but they're always really heavily armored. So it's really hard to fucking do that. And the Druge were being clever and they were putting them amongst themselves. So to get to the tortured soul, you had to get to the Druge. So there's quite a few times where we're standing there, and a lot of them had pole arms. So obviously, because we're fighting against a league, a lot of fucking people had pole arms.
Yeah.
And when I'm there with my sword and shield, not being able to... I mean, you were complaining about this as well. Like, it's when you've got a sword and shield and everyone's got pole arms, it's really fucking hard to get anywhere near them. But we basically did get a few. I had my Scots made from you, so I was cleaving like it was nobody's business, like pulling kind of legs out from underneath people. And then we exercised a few. But at one point, I was on kind of full health, and there was one tortured soul that I was like, right, we can get this one. Pushed forward, wrecked house, got it down, and then as I was starting to pull back, I'd taken quite a few hits from Druge and from the tortured souls. Pulling back, the ref hands me a little slip of paper. The little slip of paper says, Soul Curse. The world loses colour. You start to hear whispers. You can only see shadows. You can't see details of people anymore. There is a voice in the back of your mind whispering to you to do bad things. So then I was kind of like, basically got this, held it in my hand, and then just started to kind of pull in a little bit. I kind of look around at people, a bit freaked out, and started to like pull away from the rest of the winged lions who we usually fight with. And as they were moving on, they're like, Tristan, come this way, and I just kind of flinched back. People started to come towards me. I was like, had my sword out, like extended, like, fuck off, get away. Like, and then I think there was a few new players because a lot of people did not know what was going on. They were like, what's wrong with him? What the fuck is going on? People shouting stuff at me, and I'm like, I can't hear him. I don't know what's going on. Just kind of like freaking out, trying to hit people. I've been exercised before.
Yeah.
Usually when I've been exercised, I've been on my back, kind of like by the power of the virtues and all this. It's very like Captain Charge comes up to me, grabs my gorget, which is like the metal arm around my neck, pulls me in, and just starts like screaming this exorcism about me, like saying like, you know, really, we were talking about it later on Facebook, like it was a real fucking highlight because he was like saying, I know who you are, this isn't you, pull it together, kind of like this really intense thing. I was like, just standing there, my sword and shield. Ah! It was incredible. And then whew, it's gone. I'm kind of clearly, he's like, you better now? I'm like, yeah. He's like, good. He pushes me back. Let's go.
That sounds
That's
like an
sick.
awesome role.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so good. And I love. I've been again. It's really fun to be possessed because it's nice to just kind of like.
I really kind of want to be possessed.
It's good shit.
Yeah.
It's good shit. Go face some tortured souls. But yeah, so then we kind of were moving our way around, taking out quite a few tortured souls. At that point, we were, because that's literally all we were doing. We were like dealing with them, moving around, waiting to hear someone shout tortured souls, and we would like run towards them. The next thing we saw was absolutely incredible. We saw the Hogsgrove Coppice, which are, in fact, we've got an episode coming out in a few weeks with two of the members from ILARP who do the Hogsgrove Coppice, and they all have these like beautiful English longbows. And we were like marching towards them, and like we saw like a bunch of Druze running off, and like 8 of them loosed arrows, and you just watch it like took out a bunch of Druze as they all went down.
Nice.
Awesome to see. Like to see like you see when you're LARPing, you see like a few archers here and there, but to see like a line of archers just like loose arrows all on.
That was sick.
Awesome. It was so good to see. Gave them a little cheer. Then yeah, that was again mostly my fault. Lodine got possessed at one point.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, she did. But I saw Charge exercising her. I'm trying to think if there's any other notable moments. We were looking for the Dornish traitor. That was the objective.
Did you find the Dornish traitor? I don't know how the battle went, to be honest.
Yeah.
You never do as you move.
I've heard patches. So like the objective was to kill an orc general called Grubfeast, who did really horrible things to earn that name, and you can go look on the Winds of War or Winds of Fortune if you want to find out. And there was a Dornish traitor who'd been betraying us to the Druze. And we were looking for these people, basically. It wasn't... Don't you dare. They'd been kidnapped and they had been tortured, and obviously they were like, right, this is easier for me and those I love to betray the Dornish.
Yeah.
Out of character, kind of get that. In character, what a bastard needs to die. But yeah, we managed to get them. We had some really pretty cool encounters with fighting Druze, taking them out. And then as we were kind of leaving, there was a few slaves trying to run back to the Druze because they were scared of the Imperials. And there was a few arguments about the methods used to stop them running away. I always say who said what, but somebody cleaved someone's legs from underneath them as they were lying there crying. Someone came up to us, was like, you got any beggars? There was like, I don't know where they were from, but someone else being like, what do you think you're doing? They're a slave. How dare you? And it's like, well, they've not run away, have they? And then someone comes up to us. It's like, any of you got any beggars lie? And we're like, no. Why? Because if you pour it in their eyes, you can't see anymore.
Right. Is that the point?
It was so funny because we have these in-depth chat. What we did was right. It's like, well, just blind us. You can't run away then. Really fucking
Could
funny.
run away, but just straight into a tree.
Yeah, exactly. And then as we walked back, the marchers lined up side by side with their weapons in the air for like a little tunnel for us to walk
Oh,
through.
that's cool.
Because honestly, the Dornish and the marchers, as much as we have
You
strong,
are so siblings.
as much as we have strong feelings for our cousins, we fight really well together. Like really well. And it's such a shame we don't get to do it more often. Like the way we fight complements stuff really well. But we got back through the Sentinel Gate. I survived. No one from the Winged Lions died. We got out the other side. I think Dawn only had like 2 or 3 casualties, which is compared to last
40
event,
was it last time?
yeah, it was horrendous last time. Although I have found that Dawn's success to death ratio is actually pretty good compared to most Imperial nations. Like we get a lot of success. We succeed a lot compared to how many we lose, apparently, which I was like, okay.
Second to the league, apparently.
Yeah, the league is the most consistent for achieving its objectives. Navarre and Dawn are like equal second.
Nice.
And then so on and so forth.
I'm gonna take
so-
national pride, even though
I was going to say the 3 nations represented here. I feel like we can be brilliant. Pat on the back. Well done, everyone.
We are to do with me, but sure, I'll pat myself on the back. That's fine.
But yeah, came through the Sentinel Gate, and that was really good fun battle. I managed to keep my
Actually,
antlers.
you know what? Those are the 3 nations I provide potions for. So yeah, pat on the back.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah,
Well, we
well,
are, Navarre are 60% of the group, so
Yeah, that is true.
They're creeping
That
in
is
like
true.
weeds.
Yeah, I was going to say, stay back. Stay back. You'll never take Dornish till
We
I
don't
die.
need another Navari podcast out there.
Dornish till I die. Then I'll be in Navarre. No, I mean...
We're going for Rushka, aren't we?
Varushka.
You'll be a jackdaw.
Sorry, I'm going to change nation every year, so it doesn't matter what nation.
You'll make your way around,
I'm gonna make my way
yeah.
around. I'm going to make my way around the nations and the lineages.
Yeah, beautiful.
One of each year.
I think that sounds like a great idea.
Sounds like expensive in terms of kit, but that's fine.
Yeah.
I've got
No, I
some-
reckon I quite like Heilyn. Heilyn should stick around for a
Yeah,
little
it's
bit.
fair. I do like Heilyn.
So yeah, go back from battle, through the Sentinel Gate, headed back to Dawn. I can't remember what I did after that.
I bumped into Kerrie and she gave me my wallet so I could get a hot dog before everyone got back.
No, yeah, well, you know what? Let's rewind back time. Because I saw you, and then specifically, but I was doing something else at the time. But yeah, let's rewind back. When I got to the Boar's Head on the morning, and I was very confused, and I didn't know what was going on. I eventually figured out that it was the person who was waiting for me was Pepe the Squirrel and the person he travels with, and they were coming with me to the academy to speak about his citizenship test, which he didn't do this summer. But instead, she was handing out badges in support of Pepe the Squirrel. Did you not get a badge?
No, I didn't get a badge. What were they?
They literally just say Pepe the Squirrel or something. I'll show you. But she's giving them out because at 6 o'clock on Friday, the next event, she's gathering support for people to stand outside the academy in support of Pepe doing his citizenship test. So she went to go and speak to the academy about that. I spoke to someone at the academy about arranging an interview with one of the academy cadets like I did last summer. So I plan to interview one of them on the Sunday. And they said that if you come back at a certain time, then that'd be fine. And then we sort of loitered around for a bit. The person I was with was discussing with me about voting for the Thimble, which is a boar seat in Navarre. So I did my first ever vote in Anvil, but that was a little bit later. And for lunch, I got a questionable decision sandwich.
How was it? I keep promising him I'll go to and never get the time to go to questionable decisions.
Due to my dietary requirements, I couldn't roll for my sandwich because obviously most of it's non-vegan. But basically, he let me choose my sandwich because you pay a little bit more, you get the wisdom sandwich where you get to choose your fillings. But he let me roll the dice anyway to see what I would have got. And what I would have got was cheese, kiwi, crisps, and reggae sauce.
Interesting.
I would have eaten that.
I
Sound
would
too bad.
smash that.
I would have eaten that.
But
But
what type
pass.
of cheese? What type of cheese?
Cheddar.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
go nicely with kiwi.
I would have tried it. I would have probably enjoyed that. But I ended up having lettuce, cucumber, sweet chili, and crisps, which was also quite nice. When I gathered that whilst waiting for to go with a group of mages from Navarre, I wanted to go and watch them do a ritual. And so I brought this sandwich with me, and I've just felt very messy on the sidelines. Crisps falling out, lettuce falling out everywhere, just like,
That's
yes, I'm coming
not
to
a neat
watch.
sandwich to eat.
No, it's not. But whilst waiting outside of the Reggio for this ritual to start, I then spotted Nietzsche coming out of the monstering area, and I was just like, hang on, I've got his money. I've got to go get him. So I walked sort of like parallel with him down like the other side of the hedgerows. And then I came out and I was like, here you go. Just like, good, I need some food. And I was like, there you go. Right, bugger off now. See you later. Then like skittered back off to the Reggio.
It was my shortest sausage quest because she gave it right outside the hot dog stand. It's like, yay, quick sausage quest.
I was keeping
a bit
an eye
of
out
pork
for
in
him.
before time in.
I remember what I did actually right I came to Sentinel Gate because I was absolutely exhausted. Came out of Sentinel Gate, I saw my troubadour, and then we were just chatting for a bit. I was like, I hope you don't mind if I just lie down. And then I lay down on the ground right outside the Sentinel Gate, and I put my flower crown on my chest so it didn't get crumpled. And as I was lying there, I said, please tell people I'm not dead. Because I just lied there with flowers on my chest. At one point, one of our listeners came over, the one with the parasol, leaned down, they were like,
Obi.
are you dead? I was like, no, I'm just very tired. And then was like, I've made a bold decision here to lie down
Next to the hospital tent.
in full armour.
Oh, how do you
Flat on
get
my
back
back.
up?
How do I get it? And I was like, this is even worse than like the idea of like, oh my God. So I was kind of like, 1, 2, 3, managed to get up and then kind of ambled back to camp.
On a scale of 1 to knackered, how broken were you?
Considering over the course of the next 3 or 4 hours, I was in 3 more major fights. Clearly not that tired.
Can't get enough of the combat, can you?
Clearly should have worked a little harder. It was really nice. It was a good battle. It was a good way to start things off again. I survived. Everyone survived. Just out the corner of my eye, Chloe's getting really excited because she's seen a cat out the window. Just really excited.
This
Just
is
like
the
looking at
second
Kerrie,
cat.
just like a little fists up, like, yeah!
I'm sorry.
This is a real specific. This is a real specific deep cut. This is for the D&D fans out there. This is for D&D. If you open the monster manual, there's a picture of the Kuatoa in there, and that Kuatoa's got his little fist in front of him. His mouth open. He's going, yeah! That's what Chloe's currently doing, just out the corner of my eye.
I can't change who I am, okay? I like cats.
I see cat. I get excited. I don't know what you want me to say.
I was trying to get Alex to
You
see
can't,
it as well.
you can't talk. That's your LARP face.
Just before time ends, I'm like, yeah!
You look like driving the van down there. You're like,
Whilst driving, which is concerning.
we should constantly trying to get you to brake check. Because you said you would.
Oh, Christ.
Was that the battle that you lost your...
No, I still had my antlers at this point, which is amazing. I always lose my antlers. I've decided I'm going to buy another set for this next event, hopefully find my ones in Lost Property so I have a backup pair.
Yeah.
And then I need to find a way to stick them down because when people are going for fucking headshots, you're going to lose stuff.
So what are they attached on with?
Just a headband.
Okay. Is the headband just not very strong?
It's all right. It's usually all right because it's kind of, I like push my flower crown around it, but it just literally can't survive a smack around the face.
Yeah.
And somebody delivered a pretty horrible smack around the face at one point.
You always take at least one big punch round
Oh,
the face,
yeah,
don't you?
happens, doesn't it? I was kind of hoping that I'd be able to go back and find my antlers. But yeah, that was, anyway, this was like I survived a major battle with my antlers, which I was I didn't come off once, so I was pretty happy with that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the big old battle. Then, like I say, I had some lunch and I had a bit of downtime before. Yeah, basically, then just had some nice sits and chats with people, which was really nice. So kind of got to have like time to decompress at the Do Like Camp. People kind of coming and going, talking about adventures, having a bit of a snack before anything major happened. Just kind of soft plot, nice stuff.
Nice. I went for a meeting with the Reapers.
A
after the
meeting?
battle. A meeting?
Tom, really?
Yes.
Wow.
We were meant to go and discuss the building of buildings in Tatato for the big competition that's happening this year. The person who organised it did not show up, but it did get me another meeting with the leader of the Crimson Reapers, who I really like as a character. He's a lot of fun. You think Nietzsche seems sleazy? He seems sleazy and dangerous, which I really, really like. Osi, he seems like a really nice guy as well. So it was fun playing with role playing with him. So the guy didn't turn up, but we did discuss about building some buildings. The idea of building a giant statue with the Reaper in Sato did come up.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, the jackdaws aren't nearly rich enough or powerful enough to get into the building game
Again,
sadly.
a statue of Nicomo Van Dyer flipping off the other side of the city on your side of the city would be perfect.
That is the dream.
Just draw it on cardboard, like a cardboard cutout, and it's a poor man statue.
It's a jackdaw statue.
Just have that mounted on the side of your tent.
It would be beautiful. But incidentally, Jean from the Crimson Reaper General also did give us a couple of gifts to help the block. Now, we were in the block, so we accepted these gifts. But we got given...
Hang on, did you give them to the block or did you keep them for yourself?
We are fighting with the block, so...
I love that.
We are representing the block at the time, so we got given a two-handed weapon, which I think caused impale. Sadly, I couldn't use it because halberds don't get impale, which I'm still really gutted at, but would probably be OP.
You can get magical items which will turn a pole arm into.
I think that'd be quite expensive.
They are,
It would
but
be mega powerful.
Yeah.
I've been impaled by a halberd. Are you saying they can't do that?
No, they can't.
Spears can... No, spears can't.
So they can't. So great swords and Dane axes can. But
Spears with... halberds with magical ribbons.
yeah,
Probably
some can.
Oh, okay.
But basically, there's like a very specific type of weapon that can do impale. Then most weapons can do cleave, and then the size of weapon that Tom's got can do strike down.
We got given some heavy armor as well, which was very nice.
Oh, by whom?
Oh,
the Reapers.
The Reapers again. But turns out the last laugh about that is it was already bonded to one of the Reapers and they hadn't unbonded it.
That don't matter.
No, apparently taking it to God, it does matter. They won't. You have to get it unbonded.
But what if you loot someone?
I don't know really.
You could have got the mage to cast break. Like, I don't know. Listeners, write in. Could they have done that?
Could they have done that? Either way, I didn't need it because I already got donated some armor from a lovely friend, Antonio, from another guild.
What armor?
Heavy armor just gives me another extra hits and lasts till autumn next.
Decent.
Autumn.
So that's like 2 more events.
Yeah, which with an extra hit point, pretty damn good.
Yeah, 100%.
But that was meeting number 1. Always lovely to RP with the Reapers. And they did tell me OC they want to bounce back a bit more with the Jackdaw and get some really good gameplay going, which I am all there for, to be honest.
Nice.
It seems like the biggest mercenary company in the league is kind of semi-looking after in a big brother way. The other big, but significantly younger.
The little jackdaws.
Little jackdaws. I can see if we took deals and whatnot, it could go very badly, but that's all the fun of messing with the Reapers, I think.
I feel like you're giving the Reapers a reputation. I think they seem very nice and generous to me.
They're fucking lovely.
Very generous.
Yeah, after that I think I had about 15 minutes before I had to go to another meeting.
Fuck's sake. What time was this?
What time was this? I think this was about 2 o'clock, half 2. So, yeah, meeting. This one was just discussing some business with some other guilds in the league, kind of seeing what resources we have, and just having a general discussion with what's going on within the Empire. Grace came by with a basket full of brownies, and I've never seen a basket full of brownies go. Everyone at that meeting bought a brownie for 5 rings. It was great to see.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
No, of course you didn't.
Cheapskate Nietzsche. Of course he didn't.
Yeah, no. Nietzsche looks at his bag of thrones and is like, "No, I don't have enough money, love. Sorry."
I had no change.
They're only thrown pieces in here.
But incidentally, Con was also walking past in this meeting and just handed me a vial of alcohol.
Of course he did.
Incredible.
And
What a bloke.
The other member's
Yeah.
like, "Is that normal for you?" It's Con. He loves me.
Incredible.
But at that meeting, I also realised Amble is highly oversaturated for flapjack supplies. Sat down, we had 4 different people coming off of the group flapjack.
Incredible.
It is crazy.
Selling food is a good way to make money, Empire, though.
It is. I'm just a terrible cook, and I don't have the time to really invest in walking around selling things.
Yeah.
It's how all the other jackdaws are going to become rich.
Your time's too important, clearly.
Yeah.
Just take things to your meetings with you, clearly.
Time at Anvil is the most expensive and valuable thing. Anyway, what about you guys? Anything more for you guys as we go along?
So, yeah, while I was shadowing the rituals with that Navari group, there was also another Navari who I believe it was his first time at Anvil shadowing. So I was chatting with him a little bit, and we got to talk to some of the more experienced mages about how everything works. So even like we had a little OC chat about like how the actual skill works, because I'd never looked into it before. I hadn't even really thought about this until the event, until it came up with an opportunity. Like, oh, I'm going to go do a ritual. I was like, can I come see? Like, being a reporter, funnily enough, just means that you can stick your nose in everywhere. It's great. So that was quite interesting. And then after that, we went to go and vote for the thimble at the boss seat, which was interesting. That was my first time exercising my political rights at Anvil, because I have a herb garden in Navarre, and apparently that makes me important enough to vote, which is great.
Oh, you actually remembered to vote? I never did.
Oh, only because someone was there saying that I should vote for someone else, and then I went to go speak to them, and they made a good point, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. I'll vote for you. And then I found my favourite food at Anvil, which I've already pre-ordered for the next event today. They sell sausage rolls in Navarre, and they sell vegan ones as well. And I got one because it was literally the last vegan sausage roll that they had in stock, because they usually just do it via pre-orders, but I think they'd make a couple extra. And I was just sat there like, this is amazing. And the poor woman behind the store was just like, yeah. And I was like, you're right. She's like, just desperate for a wee. I've been waiting for ages for someone to come cover me, bless her. But I'm just there like, this is the best fucking sausage roll I've ever had.
Single tear rolls down face.
I've pre-ordered 2 for the next event already. And anyway, then I ended up like obviously back at the Boar's Head, and some guy came around and he was looking for someone in Navarre. And I didn't recognise the name, but then he mentioned Pepe the Squirrel. And I said, oh, do you mean this person who's my contact? And he was like, oh, no. I was like, oh, well, I'll take you to her anyway, and she might know who you're talking about. So we went, we found her, then she took us to the stall where I got the sausage rolls, funnily enough. Because it was the same group that, you know, Pepe is in. And we stood there waiting, like, at the back of this queue for a little bit. And then eventually, like, the Pepe's handler that I was with, she shouted over, oh, do you know this person? And then this person was sat on the bench next to us, and she was like, what, you mean me? Also, it's someone we know out of Anvil. And I just didn't know their name in Anvil. I've never met them in character before. It turns out she was on the bench right next to us, funnily enough. We just hadn't seen her because there was like someone in between us. And then another person comes over, and it's that person that I was talking to, the new mage, and he was like, oh yeah, this is the person I was trying to get you to find, pointing at me. And I was like, but really who we need to speak to is them, because he wanted to speak about Pepe the Squirrel. It had all gotten very convoluted, and it was a big wild goose chase where I'd taken him to the person that he needed to speak to in the first place, and the reason he'd gone asking at the Boar's Head was because someone had told him to find me there. And you know what, we all got there eventually, but what he wanted to talk about was the fact that Pepe the Squirrel may be heretical or illegal. Like if he becomes a citizen like that.
An illegal squirrel.
Yeah, an illegal squirrel, and how it could be a really bad thing if they let him become a citizen, and how that's, you know, I'd say heretical or illegal.
It won't be heretical.
Well, he couldn't quite decide which one to settle on. He just said either way, like it would not fly, because there are, you know, orcs in different territories that aren't imperial orcs that can't pass their citizenship test because they don't believe in the same afterlife as
of course. Yeah, he doesn't believe in the way of virtue.
Yeah,
it would be heresy.
Like, if a squirrel can't talk for himself, because he talks through her, obviously, because he's a toy squirrel, I would say. Not if anyone was surprised at that.
Is Icy here a toy squirrel? Or is Icy here a real squirrel?
I think Icy he's a real squirrel.
Okay.
I believe. I mean,
Puppets are a weird.
I mean, I don't know, but either way, he talks through someone. So they were saying how if he can't answer the questions by himself with his own voice, then if he were to pass the citizenship test, then that would be heretical or illegal or whatever. Like it would not fit in with the way. And that was a really interesting conversation.
Only at Anvil.
Only at Anvil. I'm like, they're like having this really deep philosophical
I had
discussion
so
about
many
a squirrel.
philosophical conversations this week about a fictional religion and the nature of glory.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I've still kind of kept away from religious game as much as
You
possible.
shouldn't. It's so much. I really do enjoy justifying my opinions with the way of virtue. It's so much. It's like a part of the game which I haven't really interacted with. The more I interact with it, the more I'm like, maybe Tristan will be a priest. Like maybe this. I mean, that is kind of where I see him going eventually. Anyway,
30 years time when you're 55 and ready to settle
maybe in
down.
a year or two.
I do want to dabble into the religious game a bit, but I think when I do eventually decide to retire Heilyn and go for another character, I might
Go for a
try
priest?
for a religious game. Yeah, because I wasn't sure whether I wanted to dabble in religion or magic, And clearly I've lent one way or the other, like just let the wind take me.
Oh yeah, no,
wherever
but
it
I
was
think that's the
going.
best way because it's like me and Tom went for the same thing. We made our characters
Beat
of like
stick, beat stick.
yeah, we were like right, martial characters, survive the fight, see how we go. And then the more I build my character, the more I'm like, cool. So definitely, maybe we'll wander more towards priestdom because like magic still doesn't
Yeah.
really interest me. I like dealing with Eternals, but I don't really care about
Doing the rituals.
doing the rituals and stuff at the minute, or Tristan doesn't at least. I would be
Yeah.
quite interested, but at the minute Tristan doesn't. But very much like the way is like becoming more and more important as I think about it. So it'd be fun to kind of like dabble with that a little bit as I go on. Because eventually you run out of skills. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Just keep pumping up that fortitude.
Yeah.
You gotta pump it up.
I think I put all my points into alchemy thinking I can sell the potions and that'll be my money making game. But as we've just discussed, money making is really when you go and sell cake or
Yeah.
other food or, newspapers. Like you don't have to have skill in Anvil to make money. You just have to have a product to sell, really.
Or be a child.
Or be
Yeah,
a child
yeah, yeah.
and get someone else to provide you with product to sell.
I'm going to be selling stuff at the next event because I
yeah.
need to raise money for something. But
What about you two? Get up to anything a bit later on after the battle?
We chilled at the tent for a little bit,
Yeah.
had some lunch, and
Oh
then
yeah, we had a lovely nap.
yeah.
Was it a rigid nap?
It wasn't a rigid nap.
Oh,
luckily
like
Chloe was there, so I had someone to take my armor off and had a lovely
I
nap.
really wonder where that was going.
Me
Chloe
too.
was there, so I didn't have to just be sleep rigid, which was nice.
But no, I had
Is take your armour off a euphemism.
Digger.
we had a lovely sleep and then headed. So now at this point the hangover was pretty much gone. So headed down to the jackdaws to see what the crack was. Again, as I say, we were taking this last.
There's always crack at the jackdaws.
Crack
I mean,
doors.
bite.
Did you
Nah,
submit
no
to
bite.
taking icy drugs? Is that what the jackdaws are? They
No,
a
we
cartel?
actually have very little game with icy drugs, to be honest.
So far, I bet you any money after you come back from fighting Vieg, you're all kind of a bit of bite in your packs.
Oh, I would love
I
that.
really think that will happen because Vieg's like a bite guy, isn't he?
Yeah, they're all like.
Yeah, I reckon you'll get a bit
deals.
of bite in your
You
pack.
should become like the Heisenberg of
What do you
Empire.
do with bite?
Take it or
It's
sell
fantasy
it.
cocaine.
No, but what do you do? Like,
Like,
if
do
you
you-
were
yeah.
legally trying to handle it, like what would your character morally do with bite? Would they turn it
Turn it
into
into a militia.
Depends on your character.
militia?
Turn it
Yeah,
into
no, that's what I'm
militia.
saying. But what morally, what should you do with bite?
Give it to the kids at the academy.
Yeah, okay, right.
They'll learn quicker.
Turn it into the militia,
Turn it into the militia,
realistically.
right,
Or you take it,
and not tell anyone.
not tell anyone. Or you sell it and really don't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, we headed down to Nietzsche's drug cartel. And,
There's no drugs there yet. Only
Yes.
good times.
It's the crack doors.
The crack
the crack doors, and saw Heilyn, and you said, "Would you like to see some smut?" So I was like, "Yeah, I've never seen any smut before. Let's check this out and see what the crack is, and
Bite.
what the bite is." And after reading through and seeing these pictures, I was like, "That looks a lot like oily.
Yeah.
Like that looks
Well, I got-
uncannily like oily." And you were like,
One
"Well,
of our listeners, the one who provided us with an award, also bumped into me and sold me
Yeah.
a calendar of himself in character.
It's fabulous.
It's glorious. It is next to the LARP
Did someone say
award.
glory? Sorry.
Glory.
Glory.
I've put it up next to the TARP award.
yeah, we're all gazing at you now, oily. It's beautiful.
Look
But,
at those oiled up abs.
I read it and I just thought this is akin to flashing, but I thought no, because he sold it. So this is akin to saying to someone,
Razors.
"Give me a few quid and I'll flash you."
No, it's just OnlyFans.
Yeah,
That's all it is.
Empire
tarts.
fans.
It's oily fans.
it's a booklet, so it's only flaps.
You ruined it.
But it's made me think that we should create some laps and tap smut.
Yeah.
And sell
Comment
that,
down below.
Find out in play. Let's not talk about this anymore.
That's IC plans.
Comment down below, listeners, if you want lots and tarts.
Let's do it.
fun.
Let's
Who would
do
you
it.
like to see explicit on the field?
Answer the poll down below.
Answer the poll down below. Whose poll below would you like to see?
Oh,
This is a real
It's a
Raunchy
raunchy
after
up
night.
here.
It's after dark, isn't it? Jesus.
well,
Steamy
has
in the
gone after
studio.
It is after 9 p.m.
Larping,
We have
Yeah.
earned our explicit rating this week. I think.
larping beneath the tops.
That peel come smack us. Careful.
What did we do after that, darling?
One thing you did, Kerrie,
Yep.
is you went to the first jackdaw play.
I did.
did not have time to go and see my beautiful flock perform because I was at a meeting.
I wasn't sure what the time was, but I saw them all gather around the theatre vaguely at the time. I thought it was. And Grace was like, "You go on in." And I was like, "How much is it?" She goes, "No, just go in." So I went to the jackdaws and I just batted my eyes like, "Can I come in, please?" And they let me in for free. And I'm like, perks. This is why Nietzsche gets away with selling me potions real cheap, because I get away with participating in jackdaw shit for free. And honestly, I absolutely loved the play. It was
Can
so
you give
good.
a basic premise? Because I didn't get to see it.
This was over a week ago now. But they were playing Free Briars, and they were on a boat. And I don't know, there was lots of like chaotic stuff going on.
From what I saw at the back, it looked like a very funny play, especially the boat scene, like
Yeah.
was passing by.
And then that was the standout bit when they got first of all, when they all got down to like row and they got audience participation up, and the Kikabeo who runs the theatre even got up and did a very raunchy row, shall we say. And then also when they were sword fighting whilst reading from scripts and someone lost their place in the script. And it was funny because like the whole play had been very much that like, you know, where it looks like it's going wrong, but it's on purpose and it's funny, or like, you know, everything's like, you know, bit comedy, bit parodical, but you can see that this was a genuine sort of like shit, I've lost my place. And it took him a little bit longer than he'd probably have liked to find it again, but it was just funny. It fit in with the theme of everything, and it was so good. And it was really well written. The characters were really funny as well. I just went up to them after and was like, "Oh gosh, you guys are so great!" And it was lovely to see them.
It looked like the theatre had completely sold out, so I was so proud.
Yeah. No, yeah, literally with people standing down the aisles and everything. I felt really guilty for not paying to see it, actually, at the end. But that's fine.
Not going to lie, when I asked Will to set up a summer coven for me, I had no idea it was going to turn into such a fantastic theatre troupe who have managed to do so much over this weekend, do so much gameplay over this weekend. I couldn't be more proud. Like, my excuse now is we are not just a mercenary company. We have a theatre company to advertise how good our theatre company is. And because OC Grace brings all the theatre stuff down and has a fantastic tent, sets up, my in-canon lore is now Nietzsche has forgone the military budget and now advertises the jackdaw skills and play. We don't have to prove we're good fighting on the battlefield. We just need to convince them that we're good at fighting through performances. Hence, all the jackdaw budget has now gone to the theatre.
Is that not false advertising? Is that not illegal?
Not in the Empire. There's no law against it.
Yeah, it's not legal in the Empire. Embezzlement's legal. Remember that.
But yeah, no, I see. Can't remember the plot entirely. I just remember absolutely loving it. Like, I'm sorry to the IC and OC writer that I can't remember his plot.
Ah.
Yeah.
Martin has many more scripts to come. I'm
I will
looking forward to
watch
bringing
them
them to
all,
Anvil.
and I will sing his praises, you know, every day at Anvil and, you know, on the podcast.
Yeah,
I'd definitely go see one if you can.
When I set up the Jackdaws last year, Refree, I did not envision it to have a whole theatre department. This is fucking great. I'm loving it.
I love it because I've been meaning to go to the theatre. Every time we've been at Anvil, I've been like, I need to go check out the theatre. And every time I've not. Even that one time we almost saw the Coctopus and we literally got the last 2 minutes of it because it was happening behind us the whole time. You know, I've just been wanting to go to the theatre, and finally, not only did I get to go to the theatre, but I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was the Jackdaws, and they were brilliant.
League.
Yeah. And then soon after, they told us that there was going to be a bit of a pork and cheese meet at the Jackdaw camp, but first
That was about 6 o'clock.
Yeah, well, first we went on a smut hunt and to find some little toy frogs, because one of the Jackdaws wanted to take one home for his partner, and they'd heard there were some in the marches. Couldn't find the ones in the marches, but I knew that same stall that I keep going back to in Navarre had some, so we went there and got some before coming back for the pork and cheese. Oh, actually, no, while we were there, they did a rabbit race, like a little gambling thing, where they like turned over a card, and depending on what colour of the card was, they moved the rabbit along. So we got to bet on that. I lost. None of us won.
The house always wins.
I think
How
the
much
one,
did you lose?
Oh, I only paid like 5 rings
Nice.
to play, and I think mine was called Navari Knife Fight, my rabbit, and then it was something, whatever the name of the rabbit was, it implied that the rabbit was fat, is the one that won. So
The house always wins. It was rigged.
Yep, definitely. But did go on for a couple more rounds, but at that point it was like, no, we're already late for port and cheese. Sorry, gotta go. Very important things at the jackdaw camp. Did you guys come over for port and cheese, or what were you doing at this
We
point?
kind of caught the end of the cheese.
Is that when I showed you the smot?
No, we saw the smut before, but it was we came over towards the end of the smut reading.
Oh yeah, because
the
if I'd
Reaper
shown you
Fest was
different smot,
starting.
then we'd gone on a smot hunt, found more smot, brought that back for the smot reading during the port and cheese.
Yeah.
It was a very smutty Saturday.
What about you, Morgan? You want to tell us about your other 5,000 skirmishes?
The first thing I did was Black Knighting in the Knight Protector tournament. So there are 4 Knight Protector tournaments a year, one for each season, and whoever is victorious becomes a Knight Protector of the relevant season. So there's one for spring, summer, autumn, and winter. This season was winter, and I was Black Knighting in that. So I had to very quickly get some armor on, get a mask on, get a black tabard on, kind of get all kitted up and got out. Because it started late, I was ready to go. Because I'm very colourful. To make all black, it was very difficult to kind of
You're
very quickly cover up.
colourful?
Yeah,
No.
it's shining on the field. Had a very interesting fight. It was good. It was really good fun. It was very tense. It's very hard in that glory square. You get pushed into the corner. Had a really positive interaction. Well, a negative interaction which ended really positively. So I don't know if that player's listening, but I took like a real hard hit to the face from a player from a weapon that got deflected, and it was really nice. They kind of put their hand up, apologized, and said, "I'll step out if you want to step out," kind of thing. So there was like I really like appreciated that, because when you're like getting, it's like, it's not like I had a headache or anything, but when you're like really
It
kind of
discombobulates.
I was
You're not
re-
expecting it.
yeah, I was really discombobulated. It was kind of like, I'll step out if you step out. That's absolutely fine. And I was just kind of like put my hand up, like trying to work out what to say. But basically, we both stepped out. I don't know if they're listening, but I really appreciate that. Like, that was really, you didn't have to do that. It was very sporting of you.
That's nice.
Stepped out of that.
That sounds particularly glorious.
Honourable. I wouldn't say glorious. It was
Gratuitous.
definitely out of character.
Yeah.
Honour. It wasn't like an in-character. I think if it was like an in-character thing, I wouldn't have cared. But I think they realised that out of character, I'd got fucked up.
yeah.
So they were like, let's take a step back. I wouldn't, if it was like an in-character thing and I got hit around the head and I was actually fine, whatever, we carry on.
Yeah.
But I was actually just kind of like, what? Hang on, readjusting. Sorry, whoever they're listening, I really appreciate that. It was really good. It was, I won't spoil who it was actually, because that might come out from another source later, but somebody won. Has become the new Knight Protector of Winter. Stepped out, kind of got refreshed, and I had like a skirmish in like 15 minutes. So I was like, I looked at my supply of potions and I was like, swig, swig. Like, I was like, I have a skirmish very soon. I looked at my potions like, I could do with these later, but I kind of fucking need them now.
But if you ever need any more potions,
Yes,
I know
I'll
someone who can help you.
I'll be in touch. So I got all my stuff back, and then ran off to go to my skirmish. But I think we've been going for quite a while, so it's probably a good place to wrap up for now. And we'll be back next time for part 3.
Boop, 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 boop. Oh, I mean, bye.
Bye,
yeah.
everyone. See you later.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you very much for listening. If you want to keep in touch, don't forget to look for us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you'd like to support the podcast, you can find us on Patreon.